Okay, Elizabeth, spill in the beans tonight, and we're starting with this roasted white bean recipe. Now, I have to say that our producer, Donnelly, she makes pretty much all of these recipes. She was raving about this, and just the incredible versatility of it, and well, I'll let you explain. It's just kind of, it's not just, roasted beans. It's like we've got some really cool recipe for you here.
So first I want to talk a little bit about dry beans versus canned beans. Nutritionally speaking, there's zero difference.
Okay.
They are exactly the same, but those dry beans take a little bit more time and effort just to get them ready to put them into any kind of dish.
No, not really harder, but you do kind of have to back it up a day. Usually.
Yes. You do need to soak them. There's a little more effort involved, a little more planning involved, but you shouldn't be afraid of them. They should be a pantry staple, whether it's canned or dry.
It's like they sometimes sit in the cupboard and it's like, there they are, there they are. But it really is like, it's like you said, you just have to think ahead just a little bit.
You do.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to these white beans. So I did start with dry beans for this. So I soaked them and I cooked them. So they are good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to add some bell peppers. I've got red and orange here, but you could use whatever you've got on hand, whether it's yellow or green, whatever. It also adds some nice color into that dish as well.
For sure.
Then we've got some onion and garlic just for that flavor. You can't have ever too much of that.
Agreed.
Yes, and then we're gonna add some flavor as well with oregano and some salt.
Okay.
And we're gonna give that a quick stir just to kind of get things a little bit mixed. Now, do you wanna take care of pouring the oil in here?
I'd be delighted.
I've got some canola oil in there.
Okay.
Pour that in. And then I've got some tomato paste that's just been diluted with some water. Just to add a little bit of extra moisture. So we're gonna stir this up. And then we're gonna add those tomatoes. The reason I'm leaving the tomatoes to the end is just so they don't get too broken up when you add them. Sometimes when you stir them, you can get a little excited.
Right. If you say so.
There we go.
No, but they do, they kind of mash up.
Yeah, they kind of mash up, and you wanna keep like the integrity of the dish.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we've got this all combined, we're gonna put it into our baking dish here. And they're gonna go into the oven at 350 for about 40 minutes. Of course, it depends how soft you like your beans.
Well, this is the thing, and I mean, there have been times where I've used, like, I've soaked my beans and then used them in the recipe, and then they just kind of come out like a little bit, tackier than I want them to be. So
that can be a little bit tricky with the dry beans. Sometimes you're not getting the same texture, and that can also turn people off.
It's true.
Which we don't want.
No.
But you know what? Cook them for about 40 minutes and then test them. You can always put a knife in there just like you're cooking potatoes or any kind of vegetable, right? So you test them, you can even taste them to get that texture right.
Sure, okay.
So we're gonna cover this, and it goes into the oven, like I said, at 350 for 40 minutes.
Is covering it, is that an important part of the bean actually cooking really well also, or
I
not
would
so
say
much?
so. It's going to keep that moisture in as opposed to letting it all kind of evaporate.
Yeah.
But those last maybe 5 minutes or so, you can take the lid off and just put it in, and then it'll get even a little maybe crispy or brown on top, which is great.
Okay.
Adds even more texture and excitement.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I love about this is that, because when I like roasted white beans, I'm thinking of it as like a side, but actually, and which it can be, but I mean, so I have a daughter that is vegetarian, and so this is like a perfect, like also like a main. It's like
I mean, you can eat it however you want. You can add rice to it. It can be a side dish. You can bring it to a potluck. When it's left over, you can have it cold. You can put it on toast with an egg on top. Like, there's just so many options. You could add sausages to it with a barbecue. Like, the list is endless, and you just have to think about things in a little bit of a different way, and you can make it work.
And I just love the budget-friendly, nature of it,
Oh my gosh, it's the best part.
Jazz it up, tone it down. Awesome. Roasted white beans. Here we go. Recipe number 1 with Elisabeth tonight. We're moving on to black bean enchilada casserole. Delicious when we come back here on Great Taste of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Taste of Manitoba, brought to you in part by the Government of Canada and Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership.